شكرا.
عفوا.
Oh, that is beautiful, huh?
Beautiful?
شكرا.
I like it, like
That's
he
really-
knows how to do that, to stop it.
Hey,
That's really good.
When your first experience in the UAE is in
Yeah.
Al Ain, you learn
Of course,
you
a
learn
lot
a
of
lot.
the culture.
Yeah, you learn to drink that with kanafa though.
Kanafa.
And down Khalifa Street in Al
Yeah.
Ain is the best kanafa
Best
you'll
kanafa?
ever find anywhere in the world.
Well, I like to have it with the dates. For me, it's dates.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's my downfall, you know.
You like sweets.
It's difficult because it affects the tummy, you know, makes you...
Overweight.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how was the interview, guys?
Well, the interview was good. I love how we had the chemistry.
Okay.
It was amazing. Of course, it's very professional. He knows a lot of, and I learned a lot today, to be honest. Saraha. Thank you very much, and you really opened my eyes.
No, it's good. I mean, a lot of years I've been here, a lot of teams, a lot of coaches, a lot of players that I've worked with.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to share it with you guys, you know, a lot of stories and
Yes.
a lot of
yes,
good times.
Yes.
Tarakabuna, ala hadath, ariada.
So first of all, I would like you to introduce yourself.
Firstly, guys, thank you so much for having me here today. It's a real privilege to speak to you guys and the amazing work that you and the other guys are also doing on social media.
Thank you.
It's a fantastic job.
Thank you.
So yeah, my name is Liam Weeks from Norwich in England. I started my career at Norwich City when I was
Excellent.
14 years old, basically filling up water bottles on a match day.
Wow. Okay.
And from there, I got more and more involved, and we created one of the first performance analysis departments in the entire country. And it was basically just putting a CCTV camera on both stands and just following the team shape. And it was on, nothing was digital. So it was all VHS cassette.
Yes, back in the days, yes.
And then when we're doing the post-match analysis with the team as fast forward, play.
Yes.
It's not like today where everything's digitalized. And
Exactly.
You can fast forward, rewind, you can make clips, etc.
Yeah.
So it was a very manual job. And I went full-time at Norwich. We had the Pro Zone system,
Okay.
which almost every top team in the world had in the 2000s. And when I was, must be 26, I had a random phone call saying, would you like to go and work in the United Arab Emirates? There's a team called Al Ain.
Okay.
And I had a quick look online because the information about Al Ain in English back then was very limited.
Yes. Yeah.
But straight away I could see, oh my goodness, this is a big team in the Middle East
Yes.
and a massive team in the United Arab Emirates.
It's actually even a big team in Asia.
Oh, absolutely. It's the only Emirati team to win the Champions League.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that I saw. And I was like, okay, this looks like a really exciting project.
Yes.
So I signed a contract for 1 year. And I thought, I'll go for a year.
For a try.
See how it is.
Yeah.
And I can always come back to the Premier League or the Championship
Definitely.
in England quite easily. And my first game with Al Ain was against Al Nassr in the Khalifa Stadium.
Must be a tough game, huh?
I think we won 2-0. But the second game, my first away game, was against Al Ahly. And they just won the league the previous season. And we went 1-0 down in the first half. Okay. And then we had some fantastic players. We had Emerson, Valdivia, Jorge Salva.
Oh, yes. I remember that squad.
Oh, my goodness. We won 5-1 against the league champions.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, this is going to be a massive season for us.
Mm-hmm.
I think November, December, we had a couple of poor results. I think we lost 1-0 at home to Al Wahda, lost 3-1 at home to Al Wasl,
Okay.
and then maybe drew with, I think, Al Dafra. So we'd already lost too many points. Okay. And that season we came third behind Jazeera. And of course, Al Wahda won the league that year, who had a phenomenal team.
Okay.
With, I think, Pinga on the side and Barre on the front.
Yes.
They were unbelievable. And then the Emirati players they had as well were just different level that year.
Even Ismail Mother was on top level at that time. I mean, he took it now, but...
Ismail Matar's always in a top level.
Exactly. Exactly.
40 years old, he's still playing. But you are right. Back then, he was in his should we say, prime? Is that the best way to describe it?
Yes, I think even in 2003 he won the best player in the the Junior Team World Cup.
Yeah, and that was well deserved.
Yeah,
it was on merit.
He really deserved it. I mean,
but look, I've been fortunate the last few years that I get to see Ismail play. It was a fantastic experience. My first year, especially, learning all about the culture, the city, the religion.
Yes,
completely different to working in the UK.
Yeah.
And it was, I loved it.
How do you find our weather here?
I love the weather in Al Ain. In Al Ain, for me, it's the best weather in the Middle East.
Really?
Other than Salalah. And of course, Al Taif maybe in Nadi.
Yeah.
Just because it's a dry heat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is warm, but it's not like Abu Dhabi, Dubai, where you step out of your car, you're waiting.
Yeah.
So the second season in Al Ain, we struggled. We had Abdullah Al-Mastaki was our head coach for a bit.
Yes.
And Alexandra Gallo took over in December.
Yes.
And we were really poor. And for a club like Al Ain, we struggled with the foreign players we had. I think we had Brahim Akita.
Yes.
We had Valentin Badia and Ilias Ribeiro.
Okay. I remember that, yeah.
They were okay foreign players, but they were not Al Ain quality.
What Al Ain needed at that time, you mean?
But look, they were... The best thing that happened to Al Ain, in my opinion, was that we came third from bottom. We could have got relegated.
Yeah.
I think we only finished 5 points above the relegation.
Yeah.
And I think we beat Jazeera, the only team to beat Jazeera that season in...
Yeah. I remember that game, by the way, yeah.
And I think we played that game in Qatar for some reason.
Yes.
And I think it was really good for Al Ain that happened, that they had a terrible season because they knew they had to rebuild.
Yeah.
And that summer, we brought some fantastic players. Hilal Saeed joined from Al Jazeera.
Yeah.
The only man I've ever seen run 14 kilometers in a game.
Hilal Saeed is exceptional, to be honest with you.
He reminds me of Mo Farah. I mean, just because how far he can run. He is a machine.
Yeah.
A machine. Yasser Al-Khatani joined.
Yes, from Saudi.
Miral Radoy as well from Al Khalal.
Yes.
Cosman came in.
Yes. And Cosman is a very big coach.
And
no doubt about it.
Without doubt, one of the best strikers ever here, Asimo Jan, joined us from Sunderland.
Yes.
So Skoko, Gian, Yasser Khatani, Radoy, Hilal Saeed.
It's quite
with Cosman steering the ship, if you like.
Yes.
It was brilliant. And for me personally, working with Cosman, who'd been in the region, he'd done fantastic things in Saudi.
Yes.
And to work with him and to really see the way that he analyzes game. But the attention to detail that he has when he's looking at the opponent, I really, really learned a lot from him. And it's no surprise to me that he's gone on and had continued success.
Okay.
And even this year with Sharjah, with the
cup,
the League Cup, the Super Cup, and Coach of the Year is fully deserved.
He deserved. I mean, he deserved everything. I mean, he's a very exceptional coach, as if you want to put it that way.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So then, after my 5 years in Al Ain, I went to Al Jazeera, and my head coach there was Eric Gerrits.
Okay.
He lasted one season with us, but we had some, again, fantastic talents in the foreign players and in the local players. I mean, foreign players, Giuselli, Lanzini, Petropa, Mirko Vucinic up front.
Yes.
And Ali Mabkout was just starting to come.
The rising star, yeah.
The problem was, of course, Mirko plays the same position as him. So where do you
benched?
Where do you play him on the side, or he starts on the bench? I think we came third that season. No, we came second. Sorry,
okay,
second behind Al Ain that year. The season after, Mirko had an ACL injury, which it was a big loss for the club.
Yes, definitely.
But it was a big moment in Ali Mabkout's career.
Yeah.
Because he finally got the trust to start as the main man.
Striker.
And Ali Mabkout, he is without doubt up there in my top 3 or 4 favourite players that I've worked with in the UAE. Just his exceptional acceleration, his game intelligence, where he makes his runs.
Yeah.
And Ali's clever enough to do absolutely nothing for 83 minutes and just go boom, boom, 2 goals. The team
he knows how to escape the defenders. He knows when to. I mean, he's really smart. Sometimes as a striker, you just don't only be like scoring goals. Sometimes you know where to stand, where to be available, when to disappear,
Absolutely. This is game intelligence.
when to have your stamina being saved for for the long run.
This is Ismail Mata, Ali Mabkout. Game intelligence is a different level compared to a lot of the players here.
Yes, yeah.
They just understand, they read the game so well.
So well, yeah.
And I've got no doubt in my mind that Ismail can be a very, very good coach in the future.
Well,
And I see him on the field and he's instructing the team, instructing the players.
yes.
And what I love about him is after training, so often he will take 2 or 3 players and say, okay, we're going to do some crossing and finishing today. And he's there giving them points, or
Really good.
this is how you need to be striking the ball.
Yes.
And he's really good. Even
He actually helps a lot in the younger generation. Which is really
and
powerful.
when you have someone of this
His caliber, yeah. Definitely.
explaining to you, this is what we need you to do, you listen, because he's achieved it all in local football.
Indeed.
And like you said, on the world stage, being the young player.
Yes.
So I was in Jazeera for 5 years as well.
Okay.
We had some really good times there. Heng Tenkata was there for the majority of the good times,
Yes.
winning the President's Cup.
Yes.
And then the league the year after was really magical. And we just knew going into games that even if we went to go down, we were going to win these games. And a fantastic team spirit in that dressing room, in that locker room.
Yeah.
And of course, when we won the league, we qualified for the Club World Cup.
Club World Cup, I remember that.
Which,
yes.
we struggled in the first game against Auckland. It was an unknown entity, really, because from my point of view, trying to get footage on a team from New Zealand, and then where do I place them? Are they the same as a European team in the Champions League, or is it? It was really difficult. And then we played some team called Real Madrid. You might have heard of them in the semi-final in Zayed Sport City.
They're called Kings of Kings.
And I remember having a conversation with Henk.
Yeah.
And Henk used to let me do all of the pre-match stuff with the players,
Yes.
all of the video and talking to them, strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they've got this guy called Cristiano Ronaldo. Henk.
I think I've heard.
Strength. We shouldn't allow him to come in and shoot
Yeah.
on his right foot. But
Yeah.
we were laughing. But when we played them, we saw perhaps the best goalkeeping performance I've ever seen by a goalkeeper. Ali Kassaif against Real Madrid in the first 20 minutes was pulling off saves he had no right to make. He was unbelievable. And then, of course, we went 1-0 up.
Yeah.
And we knew from watching Madrid that their rest defence was not great.
Yes.
And we knew that we had pace in Mourinho, Ali Mabkout.
Yes.
And no disrespect to Sergio Ramos at the time, but you are not going to catch Ali Mabkout ever, or Mourinho. So we took the lead in the first half.
Yeah.
And then second half, I think they had a corner and we broke again. Ali Mabkout one-on-one, played the ball right.
Yeah.
And Mubarak Boussoufa put it in. But this was the early days of VAR.
Yeah.
It was given as offside.
Yeah.
And it was like a butterfly's eyelash offside. That's how close it was. And I think if we go 2-0 up, is a very different outcome. Of course, Cristiano Ronaldo, Gareth Bale, I think, get the goals and we go out. But to see a lot of really good Emirati players, Faris Juma here.
Yeah,
Faris was unable to train. And because he had, I think it was a knee injury.
Yeah.
But he just took injections, went through the pain barrier, and was outstanding in this competition. He really did sacrifice himself for the team.
Yeah.
And I've seen that. I've been lucky enough to work with Faris for many years. Al-Ain, Jazeera and Al-Wahda. And another player with game understanding. You can just read the opponent's attack, where they're going to place the ball. He's lost his pace completely. Yeah. But he is still very, very useful for teams. But in this competition, he was outstanding.
That's great.
Outstanding. And then, in, I guess, 2018, I moved across Abu Dhabi and joined Al-Wahda.
The rival team.
Absolutely. And we had Champions League games against Al Nassr to start with from the previous season. It's not like now where the format's completely changed.
Yeah.
Maurice Stein was head coach. Of course, he's gone on to do incredibly well. Last season with Sparta Rotterdam.
Yes.
And because of his success, he's now the head coach of Ajax, which is unbelievable to see.
Definitely.
The progression of his career. And I'm really, really pleased for him. And Yes, so I've been in Al-Wahda ever since. Been lucky enough to work with some fantastic coaches. It's been good. And also in, I think 2016 as well, I went with the UAE national team to the King's Cup in Thailand, which was a nice experience working with these guys.
Yes.
Working with Mahdi Ali for a bit, learning a bit from him.
Yeah.
And also before that, I was with the Australian national team as well, doing a lot of their scouting, if you like, in the Middle East. Because they always seem to get Jordan for some reason and Saudi Arabia in their group. So I'd go there, watch the game, do a report, saw some video, send it to Angie Postecoglou and the guys in Australia. And my contract finished with with Al-Wahda in May. Yeah. So just now looking for a new project, enjoying talking with you guys.
Definitely.
Doing a lot of media work as well, especially in England.
Yes.
There's obviously a fascination now with the Saudi Pro League and the money that's gone in there and the players they're attracting.
Yes.
So I've done a lot with CNN as well. Live interviews with them, Talk Sport in the UK, and there's a real interest.
That's huge, actually.
In the Middle East.
That's amazing.
It's a fascinating project.
Amazing. Performance analysis. Can you elaborate on that? What does it mean, actually?
Performance analysis.
Yeah.
There's so many different strands and areas of performance analysis.
Yeah.
You have the opposition analysis.
Yeah.
So let's say I am in Al-Wahda and we are playing Al Battaya next weekend.
Okay.
I am looking at Al Battaya.
Okay.
And we're looking at their previous 3 or 4 games. If it's during the season, it's obviously more difficult during pre-season when they've had no games against anyone you really know. But you try and find games where they've played someone of an equal level to you. So you try and find games against Al-Ain, Jazeera, Shabab Al-Aqli. How did they play against the so-called bigger teams?
Okay.
Did they park the bus? Did they try and press?
Okay.
That's important. Of course, there's certain situations where you can't because of injury suspension.
Yes. And there's
so you look at the opponents. I like to split things up into, let's say, 4 or 5 different phases. So you have with the ball, without the ball, and the 2 transitions, attack to defense, defense to attack, and then set plays. And with the information, and we also use data from this various sources over the years that we've used. So we use Prozone, Opta, Y-Scout, Instat, all these different companies. Yeah. Use the data to give us a better understanding of the opponent, and then sit down with the staff, the coaching staff, whoever that may be, the head coach, and just try and put half an hour, 45 minutes of the opponent together for them.
Okay.
So this is who we're playing. This is
how.
And we try and plan your week based on this. So, okay, we know that this team is going to do this. We're going to do such and such in training this week.
Okay.
After the games or in the games, you have something called in-match analysis. So using tools such as Sports Code Elite, you can code live what's happening. You can send video down to the technical area to the coach. You can have earpieces discussing stuff. At halftime, we can show things on many dressing rooms, like in Al-Wahda, you have a big screen. So you can connect your laptop. And then sometimes you're not showing everyone. Maybe you're showing the back 4 or your 2 centre backs.
Where it's effective then, yeah.
Or, you can be showing anything. Or maybe a corner for everyone. It depends. Every game is different. And then you have post-match analysis where you're looking mainly at yourself. What did we do well? What did we not do too well? Did we carry out our game plan?
Yes.
But then you've also got individuals. So how did Tagnoon Al-Zabi do in this game? Or Lucas Pimenta,
for example. Yeah.
And I've bullied Lucas for the last 3 years. Bless him. He'll always say to me, how do you think I done? I said, how do you think you done? He's like, I done okay, maybe a 7 or an 8. I'm like, I'll give you a 3, mate.
Come on, that's unfair. Can somebody really perform with the 3?
No, but he knows I'm his biggest critic, Lucas.
Which is sometimes it's good. It gives it makes him work harder.
Absolutely. And Lucas and Ala are 2 guys who want to learn and they want to improve and they want to be the best. Yeah. So I know that if I give it to him easy, he's going to rest and he's going to be comfortable. Yes. So always, there's certain plays you can do this with. There's certain other ones you need to put an arm around. Hey, you were better than what you were, maybe. Yeah. But Lucas, I'm really pleased that he played a lot of games last year and he's had good level performances. And I think he's going to be in the league for the next 10 years, maybe. He's doing really well. You also have recruitment analysis.
I was about to ask you about it. Do you actually identify missing players in a team? like, you know, like, hey, this missing player, I think if you get this, or you do recommend, like, start that stuff?
Each club is different, and each club has its own way of working.
Okay.
And this is normally from the top
Yes.
down. I mean, when I was first in Alin, technology wasn't as readily available like it is now. And quite often you'd be looking at YouTube clips
Yes.
on players, and look, I can make myself look amazing on YouTube. YouTube.
Anybody can. So, you know.
We brought in a system back then. I forget the name of it now,
Okay.
but it was basically enabled us to get videos from around the world and look at players in depth. Watch 10 games, for example, on a player before we signed them. It's similar to what Y Scout is now.
Okay.
So yeah, we do look in depth. We do try to identify players through data and use a lot of data. I mean, Facundo Krupowski had amazing data from the Argentinian league with Arsenal, and that really helped get that over the line last season.
Yeah.
As well as using the data along with your eye and looking at the footage, you make a decision as a club.
Yeah.
And he's done very well for Awada. The second part of last year, scored some very important goals, very important late goals for the club. So I'm really happy that they purchased him.
That's great.
But I also like to look at myself as well and the coaching staff. What did we do well during the game?
Yeah.
Did we make the right changes when we should? Did we change our system when we should?
Exactly.
Did we give the right information? How we made mistakes as well.
I've been thinking, talking about the coaching stuff or the coach himself, do you, how does it work? Does it like the coach follows his instincts, or do you actually most of the time listen to you with the performance analysis?
Look,
how does it work?
It's a team effort.
Okay.
Well, whoever the head coach is,
Yeah.
Some like to listen more.
Yeah.
Some are really hard to speak to.
Which one? Can you name a coach where actually is really close to you and he listens to you a lot?
Look, Arno was very good the last part of the season.
Yeah.
Obviously, knowing the league, knowing our players.
Yeah.
He had some really good tactical ideas, so we were able to. We used to go in the mornings to the office and just sit there, watch games, go over stuff.
Nice.
Gregory was good as well in this aspect because he knows the league as well.
Actually, I still love Gregory. I don't know what happened, but I was a very big fan of Gregory.
He done really well in his 2 caretaker roles with Awada.
Yeah.
In Dibba,
I think in Dibba, I feel like in Dibba he didn't have the quality players which he needed to perform well.
I think
better.
He went there when they had their squad assembled.
Yeah.
And they'd started the season.
Yeah.
And I think if maybe he was allowed to bring in some players in January, he would have done it okay. I'm not saying they would have stayed up, but I think he would have had a better
chance of,
absolutely
staying at the top.
And of course, they replaced him just before the window.
Unfortunately, yeah.
And yeah, he's a very good coach who I'm sure, like we know here, there's a high turnover of coaches, especially in the beginning of the season. I think someone could take a gamble on him because he's here, he's based here, he knows the league, he knows the mentality, and he done very well with Awada. So hopefully he can find something.
Okay. Back to my other question, which I would like, and definitely my audience would like to know. How does it work, especially with you? Does the coach has his own team where he listens to, or does he collaborate with you? How does this go? Because, for example, I mean, let's say a coach has his own team. You know, a coach, how he comes with his own entourage, right?
Yeah.
So they talk with the coach, and they tell the coach, hey, coach, listen, we have this, I think this game we should play this way. And then where you come in, and you say, hey, I prefer this way. So how do you guys, get to one decision?
To start with, it's always interesting when a new coach comes with his staff.
Yes.
And fortunately, a lot of coaches go, oh, you've been here, you know the league, you know the players.
Yes.
We don't know.
So actually you play a very important
So they're like, okay, we need you to bring us up to speed.
Okay.
And a lot of things are discussions in the coach's dressing room.
Yeah.
And as long as you can back up what you're saying, and it makes sense.
Believe in yourself.
And also, the coach will see it will work. Your ideas will work. So normally, you build up a good relationship and trust.
Yeah.
I mean, when Jimenez first came, he had a slightly smaller staff. and he listened a lot more than he did. The second time round was more difficult because he had more Spanish staff, more Spanish assistants.
Yeah.
And it was a lot more difficult with him second time round to convince him.
Yes.
And he did have a tough time. I mean, his mother died in Spain over COVID period.
Sorry. No.
So he was not the same the second time. But I always say, look, it's very rare you see a head coach comes back and does as good
as the,
or better than what they done first time. And it's around the world that happened.
So I have for you, Liam, 4 or 5 questions, but I need to be honest with me.
Okay.
To answer honest. So, who's the best player in UAE?
Best player in the UAE now or of all time?
Now and before.
Oh, look.
Your opinion about that?
Oh, there's 3 standouts: Ali Mabkout, Ismail Mata, Omar Abdulrahman. These 3 for me are exceptional. Omar was a freak of nature, and when he was in Al Ain to start with, he was unbelievable. Ali Mabkout, just his goal-scoring prowess, and then Ismail Mata, what a career, and he's still going, and he still could continue for even longer.
Liam, Ali Mabkout is still every season is
top.
So what about Omar Abdulrahman? Between Omar Abdulrahman and, can you tell me?
Look, Omar was very unlucky with injuries, and then he went outside of the country, but just the way he was able to spot a run, and him and Ali Mabkout together, I mean, Asian Cup in Australia, these 2 were unbelievable
with the
together.
national team.
Oh,
yes.
They were a different level completely. Yeah. They were a joy to watch, and just the chemistry, the understanding they had. It was like they could read each other's minds. It was amazing. And of course, it wasn't just those 2, it was 11 players. But these 2 were unbelievable. Unbelievable. In that year, I think I calculated we spent 4 months in a hotel.
Wow.
As a team.
Yeah.
Which is a long period.
Definitely.
And also, when football came back, we were in Goa with our Wada for the Champions League.
Yeah.
We're based in India for a month during Ramadan. So it had its own challenges.
Tough times.
And our kickoff times were not favourable.
Yes.
It was straight after Maghrib prayer.
Yeah.
So we were warming up, and the players hadn't eaten and drank anything all day.
Yes.
And then the players would literally come in, have some water, have some dates, maybe have a sandwich, and then have to go and play.
Okay.
So the fact that we qualified from that group in those conditions, I have to take my hats off to the players. They were superb. Really superb. And Henk, of course, being Henk, was arguing with the AFC, calling it not a level playing field. And he was right. He was right. But there were some fantastic performances in that competition to qualify for the second round, beating Persepolis, of course, Al Rayyan.
Yes.
It was brilliant. And it was a good experience as well. Because Ramadan here is, people always ask me from outside, what's it like? It must be really difficult.
Yes.
And once you understand, it's
amazing.
It is. It's one of the most, I'd say, blissful, peaceful periods. Ramadan's always a really interesting time of the football calendar.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly peaceful time, as you know.
Yes.
It's fantastic to experience here in the UAE.
Yes.
From a performance perspective, there's so many things to consider. The first few days of Ramadan.
Yes.
Obviously, the players are not used to fasting like they will be.
Yeah.
And you have to take that into consideration with your training time and how much training you do, your training load.
Definitely.
It is what we call it. We don't want to do too much. Your club doctors are always on hand with sugars and drinks, fluids, should the players need anything or feel dizzy, etc. So the first 3 or 4 days, we keep an extra eye on the players.
Okay.
Obviously, Maghrib prayer normally around 7:30, depending what month we're in.
Yeah.
The conditions outside make a difference as well. So if it's the middle of the summer, or if it's Ramadan in the winter, it's
next year is going to be much cooler. It's going to be probably March or beginning.
Yeah, March 8th next year.
Yeah.
So it'll be a nice period.
Yeah.
But we train later. So you have to eat, digest your food,
Yes.
start later.
Yeah.
Players will be going to bed later.
Yes.
Local players normally, some of them like to just stay up until they start their fast
Fast, yeah.
and sleep all day.
Yes.
So it affects their circadian rhythm as well. And the local players just get used to how it is. But everyone enjoys Ramadan.
Ramadan, definitely.
And 10
I
o'clock-
enjoy it too. I especially enjoy the feast and the food, and it's amazing.
It's fantastic.
I'm sure by now you're used to it also. You know?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. My first Ramadan in Al Ain, I remember.
Yeah.
We were training at midnight in Khalifa Stadium.
Okay.
We were training really late.
Yes.
And we literally just flipped night into day. And it was really nice and peaceful. But then after Eid, of course, you have to switch back.
Definitely. Yeah.
That's always difficult as well. That's not the easiest thing for the athletes to do.
Yes, definitely.
But 10 o'clock kickoffs in the league here,
Yeah.
we're used to if we're in competition.
Yes.
And it's a really nice time to play. There are things like you have to consider, how do we get to games? Because
Yeah.
do we travel during the day? Do we
Yeah.
travel in the evening?
Yeah.
These little things have to be looked at and thought about a bit more than normal.
Do you think a lot of clubs use that performance analysis? And in your own, through your own experience, which club actually you think like they're up there when it comes, they're well equipped?
We're talking local clubs?
UAE clubs.
Local clubs. Normally the bigger clubs will employ someone such as myself to be with the first team.
Yes.
Lots of coaches have started now bringing these guys with them as well. I know Erwin at Al Ain is doing a fantastic job with their new coach.
Yes.
Jazeera have somebody as well.
Yes.
Normally the bigger teams tend to have somebody specifically for this role. If not, it's sometimes an assistant coach who'll put little bits together, clips, etc. But that's not their main.
The main thing. So they don't give it 100%. Yes, yes.
And I think the PLC in the coming period will help teams by providing more footage for the league.
Yes.
Maybe some more software for the guys to use.
Yes.
And really encourage teams to do their homework on themselves and the opposition in the next few seasons.
With why, after all this, why don't we perform well in the Asian Cup?
We're talking the Champions League.
Yes, Asian Champions League.
Asian Champions League. Asian Champions League's been an interesting one recently, with them having centralised tournaments, like in Saudi last year, and not having a competition to change it into a September to May competition, like the European Champions League, rather than the January-December one. The problem is we play some massive teams in our region. We have to also remember that the teams in Saudi are incredibly well funded. Al Hilal, Al Nasser, the money they have, the foreign players, especially this season, that they can bring in.
That's my next question. And with regard to that, do you believe the Saudi Premier League will it in the future? Come let's say now, the future. Let's say 5 years from now, will it be the best league in the world after investing all this money, all these players?
The best league in the world, I think, is doubtful. I think that will remain the Premier League in England. It will be the number one league for the foreseeable future.
Yes.
The Saudi League, obviously, part of their Vision 2030 with social and economic reform, is to be a top 10 league in the world to start with. And then knowing Saudi Arabia, they will want to improve to a top five. Top five. But I hear they're also investing massively in the women's game, which is good. Really interesting. And it's something that I think the UAE Pro League also need to insist on and need to improve. And I think it would have a massive expat female following as well. If you said to all the Pro League teams here, hey, Al Wahda, Jazeera, you guys must have a women's team that competes. It could be really, really good for women's football in this country.
And I believe that they're already starting. I mean, they're really improving, but they need to improve it more, as you said,
One of the problems we face here is the funding that the clubs receive. Most of it goes towards the first team and the first team squad and the salaries, the coaching staff, everything associated with that. And I believe that more needs to be done, of course, in the women's game, but also in in the academies throughout the country to bring top-level coaches.
Yes.
And not just coaches, sports scientists, fitness coaches, physios, the full entourage.
Yeah.
To help improve the next level of Emirati footballer.
Yeah.
Because in yesteryear, football was the only thing to do.
Yeah.
And now we have PlayStations, we have FIFA, we have PS5, we have TikTok, like we were talking about before we started today.
Yes.
And the mobile phones and everything's taking over. There's so much more that kids can do today compared to even 10, 15 years ago.
Yes.
And we were in Rabat for the King Salman Cup qualifier.
Yes.
In Morocco in May, and everyone's out on the street playing football. Everyone. Of course, we have slightly different climates here.
Yeah.
You can't be out in May playing football.
Yeah.
But it just seemed that there's a lot more people out playing football than there. And I think the Moroccan national team we saw in the last
World Cup, they did an amazing,
and the
excellent
Women's
job.
World Cup as well.
Well, I was actually really gutted, like they got knocked out. I was really rooting for them, like really big time. I watched the Women's World Cup, and as you said, like over here, we need to like, you know, improve the women's, because when I saw the FIFA Women World Cup, it was really, the caliber like really turned up. Really turned up.
It's getting better and better. Each year that goes past, it's improving.
Yes.
And if we see the Saudis now have the best women's league in the world,
Yes.
I think we'll see a lot of top talent will come here from America, Canada, Australia,
Yes.
and of course from England and Europe.
Yes.
So it's interesting. Now, the next question is, will the improvements in the obviously huge amount of money that's being spent in Saudi Arabia, is that a good thing for local football here? Will we see it filter through slightly?
Yeah.
And we already had a good relationship with Saudi clubs.
Yeah.
There's a lot of players come from here to there.
Yes.
Romarinho, Coronado going to Al Ittihad in the past.
Yes.
And players coming the other way.
Yes.
More so players coming the other way, you know.
Yeah.
Again, look, Radoi coming here, that's Al Qadani.
Yes. Yes.
More recently, Mati Pereira.
Yes.
And then the rumours that I read the last few days about, is it Michelle coming from Al Hilal
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of
I think the Saudi League will also give us a kind of a boost, because obviously some players, they'll be playing in Saudi, but will love every vacation to come to Dubai and watch our league too. So it's gonna be, and you know, the agents gonna be more closer to us over here. There can be a lot of
the two countries are already massively interlocked with each other.
Yes.
But yeah, I think a lot of people will come and watch this league.
Yes.
And a lot of people will also, on the back of that, come to Abu Dhabi and Dubai.
Yes.
Now, for me, the Vision 2030
Yes.
and opening Saudi up with the new visa rules for the rest of the world, they're trying to put Saudi Arabia on the map. And let's go back to 2008.
Yeah.
Nobody had really heard of Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
People had heard of Dubai.
Yes.
And everyone thought, Dubai is the capital city.
Yes.
And then Sheikh Mansour and City Group purchased Man City.
Yes.
And through the power of football, everyone in the world knows Abu Dhabi.
Yes.
Everyone knows it's the capital city.
Yes.
Even people have heard of Al-Ain and whatnot. Everyone's heard of all the clubs here.
Yeah.
Al Jazeera, Al-Ain, Al-Wadi, Shabab, Al-Akli. Everyone knows them in Europe.
Yes.
And I've seen a similar thing now. People had never heard of
Saudi
Damak
teams.
and Damak and all these places.
Yeah.
And now they're going Al Ittefaq, Stephen Gerrard, Jordan
Henderson. Yes.
So it's definitely putting them on the map.
That's
and
great.
the entire world is talking about them.
And I'm very excited. I'm looking forward. I mean, would love to go watch some of the games in Saudi too.
Well, I saw the attendances this weekend, the capacity and the flares and the passion they have.
It's insane.
Because people think that football's new in the Middle East. People don't understand the rich football culture we have and how we've been playing football for
and the passion that, and the passion that we have for football and the love we have for football. I mean, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, we have so much passion and so much love for football. I mean, you've seen, Qatar, they hosted one of the best World Cups ever.
Absolutely.
Who would even imagine? Against all the odds, we did very well. When I say we, as in the GCC countries.
Absolutely.
You saw that.
And I think the future's bright now for the success of Qatar 2022. We're now going to see a lot more high-profile sporting events come to the region.
Definitely.
It's only a good thing for football here. But you talk about football history and even our national team's performance in the Olympics in 2012. was
Amazing.
incredible.
Incredible.
Team GB, Uruguay.
Yes.
And I remember Ismail Mata's goal.
Yes.
Omar Abdurrahman
Yes.
played the ball, the run from Ismail. That's
Exactly.
football intelligence from these
Yes.
two incredible players.
Exactly. I was very excited about that match. Well, moving on. I mean, let's talk about sleep. They say, there's a saying, we say, sleep is king in Arabic. But when it comes to players, it's a different, you know how it is.
I'll tell you a story about sleep.
Go ahead.
We were in Alin in 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
And our fitness coach, Mick McDermott,
Yeah.
we brought in these sleep monitors from Ireland
Okay.
for our players. And it's basically a watch, like a Fitbit,
Okay.
like an iWatch.
Okay.
We put them on all our players.
Yeah.
I say, maybe 10, 12 of the players got them.
Yeah.
We let them keep them for 5 days.
Yeah.
And then we sent them back to Ireland, boxed them up, sent them
For monitoring.
to see what the results were.
Okay.
And this guy called us, and I remember the conversation. He said, guys, I'm going to have to send you some more. I think these are broken. It's telling us that one of your players went to bed at 3 a.m. and slept for 4 hours.
Oh, my
It's telling us that this guy went to bed at 7 a.m. and didn't wake up until...
God.
But
I can't believe, because it affects so much of your performance. Big time, I mean.
but the league was in its early days of being professional then.
Yeah.
And standards throughout
Yeah.
have improved. Sleep, nutrition. What Ismail's doing with his company, with IM10, is unbelievable.
I love to see. I mean, I follow Ismail Matar on his Snapchat. I love to see how he's keeping himself at that age. It's amazing how he keeps himself with his nutrition, with his way of,
He's a role model. He's an example. And even during Ramadan, he was posting what to eat,
yes,
what the body can
exactly.
absorb easily.
I learned a lot.
And it's an education thing.
Yes.
So we do see people and players especially have been educated over the years.
Yes.
Sleep is important, nutrition, hydration,
Exactly.
and rest.
Exactly.
Because before, rest days used to be, hey, let's get the jet skis out, let's go party.
Let's go.
But now it is, okay, well, I need to...
Because it ruins your performance. And, as a professional footballer, you should know when to sleep, when to eat, what to eat. Because you're called a professional. That's why you've been paid high salaries. For that reason, because you're a professional. So you should act like a professional,
And the standards, especially the last 5 years, have risen massively across the entire country.
Mm-hmm.
And it's education in these areas.
Yes.
So I'm all up for players promoting good habits.
Yes. It's always a good thing. And when a player is performing good habit, it always, the surroundings also follow.
Absolutely.
Especially when you're a leader.
The players benefit and the team benefits.
Yeah.
And as we see with the examples we've used, the wider society benefits as well. So it's only a good thing.
Yeah. Well, moving on. You're saying try, because you're on the 15 questions, so try.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I'll
get going.
Yeah, we're going to squeeze it for...
You guys are going to be editing for 7 days.
Are you going to squeeze it for an hour on?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the worst thing you know what is translating, doing the subtitles in Arabic. We're going to have a lot to do.
I'll leave you to do that.
All right, moving on. Okay, Kim? Moving on, since you're in Wahda now, and...
finish that one.
No, you finished as Wahda, but you were in Wahda, the experience of the Wahda. There's a very question where a lot of my fans wanted me to ask you, saying like, especially over the past 2 years, they're finding it like a player with a very good player, he's been kept on the bench, and then you find sometimes some players with low skill, or not disrespect some players, but there's a better player at the bench, he's been benched for somebody lower, and the crazy part is that somebody low is not performing. So what is your intake on this? And in the past, did you have any impact on it, or did you talk to the coach or something? Have it?
When it comes to team selection,
Yes.
the final decision is always the head coach.
Right, coach. Yes.
And we can discuss as a staff. Sometimes I will disagree with the goalkeeper coach. The goalkeeper coach will disagree with the assistant. But ultimately, it's the head coach.
Yeah.
Now, what you do is you put out your best team to win this game.
Yes.
And there's always your best 11.
Yes.
The thing that a lot of fans and supporters don't see and don't get to know about is they only see the team on a Friday evening at 7:30 for this 90 minutes.
Yes.
They don't know what happens between Saturday
Behind the
and Friday.
Yes.
And whether that player's got a small injury, he's sick, he has problems at home. There's so many things that can determine whether a player is is ready to play. Maybe he's not got his contract extension, this kind of thing. There's so many psychological things as well you have to take into consideration.
Okay.
And you always put out the best team to win that game.
Definitely.
And you also, maybe if I'm playing a lower team on Friday and I know I have an important game on Tuesday or an important game coming up, do I rest players? Do I know this player?
You risk it.
Do I know this player's got a suspension coming up if he gets booked and he's going to miss the next game?
Yes.
Or shall I put my best players on the bench? If I need them, I can bring them in. There's so many factors that you have to consider.
Okay. Could you share us, for example, a match where you had a very big impact on using your own performance analysis, like you had just give me your experience.
Okay. Every game is important.
Yes.
Every game is relying on your eyes, your mind, and the tools that we have given to us. Now, I have a unhealthy obsession, if you like, with set pieces, with defensive corners and attacking corners.
Very important.
And the last period, I love Mohamed Al-Shamsi, goalkeeper.
Yeah.
For me, he is definitely the future number one of the national team.
Okay.
He can be even better than what he is now.
Okay.
He's the most gifted in terms of being able to play football.
Yes.
And his passing ability.
Yeah.
When Jimenez first came, sorry, going off on one now.
Yeah, no.
When Jimenez first came, they done a questionnaire of each player.
Yeah.
What's your best position and what's your favourite position? Of course, Shamsi said his favourite position's goalkeeper.
Okay.
His best position's number 9. Right. But
there's always a connection between a goalkeeper and number 9.
Crazy, okay?
And as a matter of fact, number 9 loves to play as a goalkeeper too.
Goalkeepers are goalkeepers. Yes. They're crazy.
Yes.
But Shamsi, I gave him a bit more responsibility with defensive set plays. And I really brought him in and said, mate, are you happy with this? Let's change them. Let's look at them.
Yes.
And let's make a decision together to give him the responsibility as well.
Yeah.
Because I'm not in goal. He is in goal.
Yeah.
And also during the game, he's got the power to say, I'm not happy with you there. I want you here.
Yes.
Switch these markers.
Yes.
And to be fair, the last period, I don't think we conceded from any corners, which was really, really pleasing.
Yeah.
But goalkeepers are a unique position, as you know.
Okay.
And we've had some fantastic ones here in the country. Khalid Issa, Ali Kasey.
Yeah, I'd say yes.
Shamsi. And behind every good goalkeeper, there's always a fantastic number 2. It's his number 2.
Okay.
The second choice goalkeeper is incredible. How important they are, because every day they are firing the balls into them.
Yes.
And they are supporting them.
Yes.
So, I mean, let's look at Rashid Ali in Al-Wahda. If Rashid Ali was in almost any other club in the country, he'd be number 1. But he's not, and he supports Shamsi. When he's needed, he's in.
Yes.
And then it's support Shamsi, make Shamsi as prepared as I can, and I'd be ready myself to go in. And what a nice bloke he is as well.
All right. Moving on to the next question. What challenges do you face with communicating with the coaches and the players?
Some coaches
are the analysis, obviously.
Some coaches, it's difficult if they don't speak great English.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
Normally I have to find someone who can translate into their native language, which normally an assistant coach or a goalkeeping coach or a fitness coach. We're very lucky that the universal language of football takes over most cases. I have had some cases where some players don't speak great English, but you just pull somebody else in. So I bring someone in. Examples, if it's a Spanish or Portuguese speaker the last year, Adrian Silva or Lucas can help me explain with a Goodwill, for example.
Yes.
Ali Mabkout or someone with Salam Rashid. Although Salam Rashid's English, he definitely knows a lot more.
Sure by now, all these years you've been spent, you speak good Arabic.
Sure, Arabia. a small bit, but the essentials, you know.
Yeah, it's very important.
Football talk.
Very important.
Football talk is important.
It's important, definitely.
When you have some footage on a laptop, and the players are clever.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what language
if you will understand the mistake,
they will understand
the fault, how to correct themselves,
and also what they do well. Because it's also important when you're talking to players, you don't just go, this is terrible, this is terrible, this is terrible. Because they'll end up going, this Liam, I hate him. You have to really put some good positives in as well. And I do this when we talk to the group as well.
Yeah.
Put some fantastic things in.
Okay.
And also you have to know from your experience when should I put something funny in? And I think I told you the story
Yes.
of when we played Al Dhafra this year.
Yeah.
And we just lost again. Salain, the head coach, Jimenez had been fired, and Arno was in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at the attacking free kicks or defensive free kicks for Dhafra with the entire squad.
Yeah.
And I put one in from Mahmoud Khamis from maybe 10 years ago, where he scored against him and he celebrated.
Yeah.
Like, and Mati Pereira, when he scored his free kick, done the same celebration. And it's just it's funny. It raises the spirit. You need to know when to have a laugh and also when to be serious at the same time. And the players respond well, as long as it's mixed and it's not repetitive.
Excellent. Well, according to like your performance analysis, how do you ensure that your work improves them for a long term rather than just a short term? So what do you do to ensure that your analysis like to improve the club or the team to long term?
Well, to improve the team, you need to improve individuals.
Okay.
So quite often I'll have one-on-one sessions with individual players, or sometimes I'll take the back two central defenders or the fullback and the winger, for example, partnerships on the field, or the striker and the winger, and you try and improve them as individuals, like their game understanding and their tactical knowledge. You try to improve constantly. And normally if individuals improve, teams will improve. There's many hundreds of examples over the years. One that I can think of straight away is Mohamed Al-Anizi in Al-Ain, left-footed centre-back. Mohamed, when he used to receive the ball, used to have so many touches. Come on, one touch and go. When you're waiting for the ball, your head's up, it's your body position, so you know what you're going to do before you get the ball. And he improved so much from just knowing what he was going to do, where everyone was, taking a picture, receiving and playing. And I've been bullying Lucas again for the last couple of years about when you receive the ball, what's your body position? Are you open? Can you play forward? Do you know where your fullback is? Do you know where your midfielder is? And I'm really happy that when I see him, I can see him improving and taking this on board. And that's one of the things you live for. It's not winning a trophy. It's not winning a championship.
Exactly. It's the
but when you
movement,
see
the journey. It's the journey.
When you see a player improving, it
And what feedback do you get from the players when you take them aside and you tell them, what's the feedback? Is it like
depends.
Some of them don't accept it, some of them accept it because they want to improve themselves? How does it go?
Sometimes you can have good discussions.
Okay.
And I don't like to give the answers to the players straight away.
Okay.
Because I might see something that they might see differently.
Definitely.
So I like to say, hey, if you receive this ball again, what might you do differently? And they can give me the answer. And we can say, have you thought about this? And they can say, oh, yeah, but I didn't because this player was here or my body position was wrong. Okay, well, next time, if your body position's better. Or some guys say, no, I disagree with you, which is fine because I don't have all the answers. Nobody knows everything about football. And that's the wonderful thing, is that we can have debates about it, that we can talk. And you get, even when you watch Game Over, you can see the argument going on because nobody has all the answers. And everyone's opinion can work and is valid. So it's important that the player can see stuff and they can try to improve. But I let them speak. I let them have their answer and we can discuss.
With that being said, how about the youth players?
Normally, my responsibility is only when they come into the first team environment. Although our under 21 and our under 18 games are all recorded, so we are able to look at the footage. The job of analysing them would go down to the head coach and the assistant coach for their age groups.
Okay.
Now, certain clubs employ an analyst for the under 21s and further down in the academy, but it's on a club by club basis. And I'm currently seeing good things actually from Al Jazeera and their academy. They're investing a lot of resources, a lot of money in their academy to bring top quality staff in. So I think their academy and their players will benefit massively from this. And one of the guys they have employed is a head of analysis for their academy. So their players will be benefiting from all aspects of performance analysis day to day.
Okay. And speaking of, we're still going to be talking about the analysis. Speaking about your video analysis and everything, how does it enhance? How does it play a part in your day to day? Players.
Oh well, normally the first few days of the week, I like to get the last game finished as soon as I can.
Okay.
So what we done well, what we didn't want to do too well, mistakes we made, things we done well, put that to bed. So that's finished, that's parked, that game is done. Nothing you can do to change
of course.
that result. The next game we can affect.
Okay.
Beginning of the week, I will sit with the head coach or look at the next opponent. I'll show them quite a bit.
Yeah.
Strengths, weaknesses, set plays, etc. And then I like to show as early in the week as possible to the players. Only 10 minutes maximum.
Yeah. Okay.
Because players will switch off. Yeah. And you need to show them the key things. So this is how they build up, for example, or this is how they press high, press medium, low block.
Okay.
And each team is different. Also, there could be some key players, for example, that you need to stop.
Yes.
We'll do this as early in the week as we can, because everything we do in the week is normally based on the game. It's game specific. Individual players, I like to send individual clips to. So my fullbacks, I might send clips of the winger for the opposition. This is what he does. This is what we can expect him to do.
Yeah.
This is how he receives the ball in certain areas. Does he want to come inside? Does he want to shoot? Does he want to go on the outside and cross?
Okay.
Sometimes teams like Alane, they have two very attacking fullbacks with
exactly.
Eric and Banda.
Exactly.
So you'd also show these to the fullbacks.
Especially Banda is very quick.
Yeah, incredibly quick.
Yes.
Well, he started as a winger, remember? And
definitely, yeah.
He's done incredibly well at fullback.
Yeah.
Especially considering he left Alane and he went to Banias and was at Wassel as well. And done very well since he's come back. So I'm proud of him. And
he's a very good player.
He's done very well. And for national team as well, he's done well.
Exactly.
So you normally try and show players their direct opponent. So number 9 will be with the 2 centre backs, etc. They'll get them, and then on the day of a game, depending who the head coach is, some coaches like to have 2 meetings, which I think is sometimes too much. I like to have a meeting before we leave the hotel, and we'll show sometimes some just little bullet points.
Yeah.
The main things you need to look out for.
Yes.
Maybe the head coach will also say the starting 11 in this meeting.
Yes.
And then I like to do set plays here, corners, free kicks, because our starting 11 is confirmed. We know where players should be, and just a few key things from the corner. So this is a couple of short corners. They might have some variations, or this is the block inside the penalty area. They attack the back post.
Okay.
This kind of thing. And then when you get to the stadium, you'll also be given the opposition starting 11, which is an hour before kickoff. And from then you can really just finalize things. So on the dressing room, we'd have your set plays will be up on the wall, printed out or drawn up, depending who your head coach is. And you can just say to your guys, okay, you're marking this player, you're marking this player, you're marking this player. Oof, we're not 100% certain. It could be this player, it could be this player. So whoever it is, and you just go over with the goalkeeper as well. Yeah. So I'll do with Shamsi, are you happy with these markers? Yes, no, why? So we have a discussion. Maybe we switch something, and we go from there. And then sometimes there could be something you weren't expecting a player to play because he's been injured. Yeah. So it's like, okay, we need to get some footage quickly on this player. Exactly. And then just show it to his direct opponent. This is who you're up against. Here he is. Yeah. Expect this.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, of course, now with all this new technology and everything, how do you stay up to date and with yourself and make your own analysis like relevant, and how do you stay up to date?
You have to stay on top of technology.
Yes, because every day there's a new technology.
It's incredible. And the latest thing is AI, and AI coming into
it's coming everywhere.
Analysis, and especially into recruitment. And recruitment now, especially at the highest level of the Premier League, is a business worth hundreds and hundreds of millions.
Yes.
Look at Brighton and Hove Albion.
Yeah.
But their recruitment team is like maybe 20 analysts. And we're talking technical, we're talking data engineers and data miners looking at everything. And at the highest level, they have such big departments. Whereas here we're normally very, very small, almost individual departments working by ourselves. Yeah. So I do think we need to invest more in people here and set up actual analysis departments as such for the entire clubs. To, like we talked about earlier, with the 21, with the academy, and have a real analysis program for these guys. But staying on top of things, going on courses, etc. I've just started a course yesterday actually, which is a sporting director course. because you do see a lot of analysts now,
Yes.
because of their knowledge of the game and the way they're able to interpret the data and
Yes.
everything, going into the sporting director role, and something that I'd love to do in the future maybe.
Uh-huh.
So
That'd be great.
I just thought, hey, I have some spare time on my hands. Let's do something useful.
Why not? Why not? Next question would be like, what strategies do you use to employ or to maintain a player's like confidential and privacy, you know, while conducting this performance analysis? Like, you know, obviously some players wouldn't like, you know, to share whatever is performance in them.
Of course.
So how do you, you know,
You have to know the individual player and the psychological side and the emotional side
Yes.
of the game.
Yeah.
In team meetings, I tend not to pull individuals out for errors and things in front of
Everybody.
everyone, because it's embarrassing. And again, they'll be saying, hey, what is this? But and it's also sometimes difficult to then have a conversation with them about why has this happened. I prefer to put them one-on-one,
Yeah.
or maybe a smaller guy and say, hey, what do you think about this?
Mm-hmm.
And also put a positive in with them.
Definitely.
You have to really look after the guys. That's really, really important.
Mhm.
And they have to learn from their mistake.
Definitely.
This is the key thing. And if you go in and you just destroy them, their confidence will be
Go
low.
down. Definitely.
And you have to, the most important thing, especially with players here,
Yeah.
compared to maybe other countries, is a player who is in form has confidence.
Yes.
A player who's been destroyed has no confidence. You see it in their performance
Yes.
a lot. And
Yes.
so many Emirati players, if you can see they've got no confidence, they make more
You know what?
mistakes.
It's good that you answered, because that was my next question, where the difference of cultural and the regional difference between here and outside when it comes to performance using this analysis. So that was my next question. It's good that you answer it now.
So you have to really look after the guys.
Yeah.
And sometimes here I see players who are destroyed on social media
Yeah.
and things. And you have to forget that the player doesn't go out to make a mistake.
Yeah.
The player is giving his absolute maximum. A player doesn't go in a game to get a red card, for example.
Yeah.
But they too often players get destroyed, if you like, by social media. They read the comments.
It's very effective nowadays.
I hate mobile phones. I hate players.
It's that, I mean, it's the future. Social media, I mean, it's taking over everything. I mean,
It is, but sometimes I think players need to just turn and go.
that's very true.
Mohammed in Alain, wherever he is,
Yes.
what does he know about football? Does he know how hard I'm trying? Does he know how many crosses I'm putting in training to improve myself?
Yes.
And I think sometimes the players read too much into it.
Yeah.
Whereas they just go, what does this guy know? He's not a footballer. He's not my coach.
Yeah.
He's not my analyst.
Exactly.
And yeah, you have seen many cases in the last few years, especially as social media has grown and grown and grown.
Massively.
But it's really a useful tool for players as well.
Yeah.
But it's also a terrible tool.
Terrible.
I'd say.
Well, it depends on how you use it. I mean, if you know how to balance it, I think you'll be okay. I mean,
But you need to
I have a principle where at certain time my mobile phone is off limits. I don't use it. It's time for seriousness, time for family, it's time to, you know, so as a professional, they need to do that. They need to know when to be in the social media, when not to be, especially when you have derbies and these games, you need to put that away. Mm-hmm. I mean, it'll affect, you think it doesn't affect you, but indirectly it does affect.
100%. And there's other things to consider as well with the mobile phone. Is the blue light it's giving off and staying awake and having an interrupted sleep.
True. That's true.
So I was talking to some of the guys over the summer about getting special glasses
Yeah.
that block the blue light. So if you want to be on your mobile phone before you go to bed,
Yeah.
checking your Instagram or messaging your mates or your wife, no problems, but it's not going to really have an effect on you.
Yeah. Moving on to the next question. Have you ever encountered any difficulty with a coach where your performance analysis, when you always try to tell you see the mistake from your eye, you know, and you try to convince the coach that this is the right way, but he doesn't always he will always disagree with you or blocks you. And how do you handle that?
You always have to remain professional in whatever you do and calm and collected.
Yes.
Some coaches are harder to work with.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the head coach is responsible for the first team.
Yes.
And the final decision lies with him.
Always. No.
So if he wants to listen to you or not, no problem. As long as you do your job, I do my job, and I present
Whatever, the best way I can. Yes.
then it is up to him whether he takes it on board or not.
Okay.
I mean, when I first came to Alin,
Yeah.
Winnie Schaefer was head coach.
Okay.
And
That's a very good coach, by the way.
we had a couple of disagreements.
Okay.
And it's like, hey, Liam, you are only here to press play on my VCR button, on my VCR. And I was like,
Go on.
but over the course of that season,
Yeah.
I think he realized that I was actually quite useful and valuable. We got on really well.
Wow.
And even the last few years, I stay in contact with him, even when he was in Bania.
That's nice.
And he sent me a message last week actually saying, hey,
Excellent. Awesome.
if you hear of anything, let me know because I want to get back into the UAE.
Well, it's always so easy to come back here.
Yeah, that was difficult coming from England and having a coach who hadn't really worked with analysis before.
Mm-hmm.
But you find now all the coaches are big believers in analysis, sports science, and everything.
Plays a big role.
Well, they see it at the highest level, and they realize how important it is,
And how much people spend their money on it too.
but also how much these guys can, how much it helps the coach as well.
Yes, yeah. How much impact it has.
100%.
Definitely. Moving over, what advice do you give to the young, generation or the young people who wants to become something like you with a performance analysis? So what advice do you give them, or what encouragement do you give them?
Look, football is the greatest sport in the world.
Definitely.
I'm incredibly lucky to have spent my entire adult life
Yes.
involved in professional gaming.
Yes.
But the most important thing for anyone wishing to move into sport as a coach or an analyst or
Yeah.
a sports scientist is to pick up as many qualifications as you can. Like I said, I've just picked up the sporting director's course online. I had it recommended to me from the technical director of the Pro League here.
Yes.
And speak to people, find out what qualifications are relevant.
Yes.
Whether it's a university degree, maybe, or if it's a course from a national governing body like the UAE FA,
FA.
they have various courses, or even going online and saying, okay, the English FA have a talent ID level 1.
Yeah.
I can do that online.
Right.
Fantastic course. The next thing is experience,
Okay.
because you can have all the qualifications in the world.
But you know,
If you don't have the experience, you are never going to get there. And find your local club, whatever division they may be.
yeah.
It could be Alain, and you could say, can I come and work with your under-15s, recording the game and just cutting it into bits for the coach?
Yes.
Or can I go to, let's say, Gulf United in the first division?
Yes.
How can I help these guys? Can I do something? Can I record your training?
Yes.
Can I analyze your training for you? And just pick up experience.
Mm-hmm.
And then the important bit's finding a job. And
Yeah.
it's sending your CV out, making contact, speaking to people.
Mm-hmm.
And because football here is special in the UAE. It really, it's unique.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I mean, I came in, 2009 and fell in love with the place.
Yeah.
And not just the football, by the way.
Yeah.
The
people,
the entire,
food,
everything. The culture, the city, the way of life is just
it's just amazing.
absolutely.
Yes. Well, next question is, with the increase of emphasis on data in football, how do you balance the quantitative insights with more qualitativity aspects of the game?
Now, this is a great question. Now, we have more data available today than we have ever had available.
Yes.
Not just across the technical, tactical aspect,
Yeah.
but also the physical aspect. With the players wearing the GPS, monitoring their
What you said. Right.
Yes. So the GPS, you monitor them through training, you monitor training loads, what they do in a game. We have more data than any other previous season now.
Exactly.
So it's how we manage that data. And the key thing is pulling out the relevant data and the important data.
Yes.
And that's always been the biggest challenge with data is what's relevant, what's important, what's not so important.
Yes.
And just continue with your morals and your beliefs. But I find you have to mix data with your eye.
Yes.
So that's the key thing. And sometimes you can become obsessed with data and look into it too much and you're like, okay, but it does have a role to play.
Yeah.
100%. When I get the opposition reports, I like to look at the passing maps
Yeah.
of which player makes the most passes to who.
Yes.
And from this, I'm like, okay, if I've got a centre midfielder who I know, let's take last year Jimenez at Banias.
Okay.
If I know that Jimenez is their most dangerous player,
Yes.
creativity, he has the most shots, the most balls into the final third, where does he get his passes from? Okay, I can see that he gets his pass from Sasha at number 31 and from Fao as a winner. So we need to stop these guys from getting the ball so he can then not make the next pass. But then when you've got this data and you then watch the games, you can see it. And I'm actually on a different subject, I'm curious about Banias this season.
Yeah.
Because obviously Jimenez has gone to Al Wasl.
Yeah.
They have a fantastic squad, by the way, Al Wasl this year.
Also, I think they're going to be a big...
Especially
Then this-
the quality of the UAE national part.
yes,
So you have Lima, Kayo, Ali Salmin is back.
Yes.
So, and mixed that with the foreign players that they have, it's going to be a really interesting season.
Omar Abdurrahman is back.
Absolutely.
Yes.
With a new look, by the way.
A new look. I like his new look, by the way.
Yeah, it's better.
It's been better. He actually looks more Brazilian with his, with his like...
He saves a fortune on shampoo as well. But Banias, I watched them play against Al Wahda the other night in the friendly game, and I like the way they play. They've made some good signings, good replacements have come in for them. Sohail Al-Nobi's there, and his pace is unreal.
And I mean, Sohail Al-Nobi is one of my favorite players, to be honest with you. I mean, for him, I would really want to see him. Not saying that Banias is not a great team. Banias is a fabulous team, an amazing team. I want to see him go to probably Saudi to play or something like that. I'd love to see
an Emirati go to Saudi. And I think that kind of profile, like you just said, Sohail Al-Nobi would do really well there because of his speed. And he's makes some fantastic runs on the ball. Sohail,
really good work.
Yahya too would be...
Yeah, it'd be a really up notch for the national team of UAE. I would love to see UAE players, go to Saudi to play. Not that UAE league is not good. No, but to rub shoulders and and all that.
Absolutely.
I would love to, and I would love to Saudi players to come here. Don't forget that we had Alain, we had Yasser Gahtani from Saudi, and he played here. So
Yasser was phenomenal when he was here.
yes,
He really was.
yes,
But we have another interesting question on the back of that is the number of foreigners we allow into the league.
yeah.
Do we want to see more foreign players? Do we want to see less? Does that have a negative or positive impact on the local players and the national team?
I think it should be balanced. What do you think?
I don't know, I was looking at it the other day and I was thinking I'd probably allow each team, bear with me, to have 2 foreign spots for GCC citizens. Okay?
Okay.
But in return, I want 2 spots in every team in their league for Emiratis.
That's a very good one.
So I could say to teams in Qatar, okay, we can have 2 Qataris, for example, for 2 Bahrainis, 2 Omanis, 2 Saudis to come, but I want these spots in your league.
You'll need to have 2 of mine.
Yes.
Give and take.
And they can play, I don't know, play as locals maybe, something like this. It could be an interesting scenario because let's say, look, the Bahraini league and the Omani league might not be on the same level here, but some of our young players could use it as an opportunity to go play competitive first team.
The ones who are benched, most of them would the whole season. Imagine a player's been benched the whole season. You have some players, so they give them the chance to go out and play.
Because this is how players learn and they develop.
Yes.
They have to play games.
Whereas the Premier League, you see some players, they have been benched a lot. What do they do with them? They loan them out.
Absolutely. And they get minutes and they improve.
Exactly.
Or maybe they don't improve.
Yes.
And you then know,
Yeah.
is he good enough for us? Is he not good enough for us?
Exactly. That's where you measure him.
This is why we do have a problem with Emirati players who are not getting the minutes. And how do they get the minutes? Because the under-21 league is not the same level. The first division is not the same level. The Pro League is miles above everything else in the country.
Yes.
So maybe
I think loaning would be good, especially the 2 slots.
it could work.
They could work.
It could work, but
They're very good at
there's many ideas that, of course, the PLC and the Federation have.
Exactly.
So hopefully they do what's best for the league to improve the quality.
I mean, at the end of the day, we want the best for the league and especially the national team.
Yeah, and on the back of that, hopefully, better league, better national team. Because the two work in hand.
Hand to hand.
And my wife called me the other day and she said, Liam, you're saying we. And I said, yeah. I said, this is my national team. This is us.
Exactly.
This is my home now.
Exactly.
So we, UAE.
Exactly. So yeah, one of my last questions I will ask you, can you share any experience or examples you had with your performance analysis that could indirectly contributed, to the team's success or achievement with a specific goal?
Of course, look, every time you do something, every game that you prepare, it's pleasing when you see something that you've pulled that comes off, whether it's stopping the opponent from playing,
Yes.
or You create a chance, etc. I was lucky with Henk Tenkata in Jazeera that he let me do a lot of the presentations to the players and really do a lot of teamwork with these guys. So that was really good for my personal learning, if you like. But in recent years, when I've been at Al Wahda, knowing Al Jazeera inside out, knowing how to stop them, I normally try and take over when we play Jazeera, to be honest. And sometimes the head coach is not always 100% about it. So normally I try and bring Ismail in, because Ismail has a very similar philosophy and opinion that Al Jazeera are a fantastic team if they get the ball moving and they can move it.
And especially there's a team, I feel like if you don't pressure them, you leave them play, they can outplay.
Well, they get to the halfway line and then
easily.
Then you are dead with the pace, the
like,
quality. Mabkoud, Omar Traore on the side.
Exactly.
And the foreigners they bring in are top ones for next season.
Mm-hmm.
So we at Al Wahda, we always knew we had to press high against them.
Yeah.
And especially you have to stop the previous season.
Yes.
Abdullah Ramadan and Sorero from getting on the ball and dictating the play. So different head coaches have a slightly different take on it.
Yeah.
So, for example, with Arno, we pressed 4-2, worked really well. I think Milos made a mistake and we scored the opener.
Okay.
And other coaches are like, okay, we're going to press with 2 or 3.
Yes.
But the idea, the game plan is the same.
Okay.
So that was good. But winning the first championship with Alain, their 10th title, that was a really cool moment.
Alain,
because we hadn't won the league for
quite some time. I remember that. Yeah.
And having the season before where we came third bottom.
Yeah.
And to see
from that to winning
the entire club under the guidance of His Highness Sheikh Abdullah.
Yes.
And
Sheikh Hazza.
Of course, and the Bin Baduas.
Yes.
It really was a collective team effort from the top to the bottom, and everyone was instrumental in the 2 years winning the league there. But then winning the President's Cup with Al Jazeera as well, and then the league there again, that was really special with them, because they'd not won it since the time of when they first had the big stadium.
Yes.
Everyone was there, so that was nice with Ado Braga.
Yes, exactly. I remember that.
So that was a nice experience as well, being able to win it there.
That's great. I know you hate comparing, but through your life experience with the performance analysis, which team gave you the high numbers? Was it Norwich, Al-Ain, Al-Wahda, whatever you went? Which one gave you the highest number?
Oh, the highest number of what?
The analysis report.
Look, everyone has their own KPIs and their own things that's important to them.
Yes.
Nobody. Look, we've had success at all the clubs, and they all had their own qualities and their own things that aren't so great as well.
Mm-hmm.
Here, I really enjoyed working with Al Wahda.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, day to day, going in, being with the players, helping them to improve, and also learning.
Yeah.
And learning from the players, from the coaches.
Yeah.
And one of the things I always try to do throughout my career is I've had so many coaches here. Mm-hmm. But you learn from them.
Yes.
And you learn.
Coach brings something.
You learn how to do something.
Yes.
Learn how to do something they do well.
Yes.
Or like Cosman, his attention to detail.
Yes.
Or some coaches, they do things terribly.
Yes.
And it's like, you learn how not to do something.
That. Exactly.
So with each coach, I always try to improve myself. Exactly. Because that then has a knock-on effect with my players, with my teams.
All right.
And they will hopefully improve.
Mm-hmm.
But I've really enjoyed it here so far. It's been a great adventure.
Great adventure, yeah. I'm sure you enjoyed our culture, our food, our people. I'm beautiful. So I'm sure like you'll be having. And how about your wife and kids? What do they say about it?
No, they love it here too. I mean, the boys are both born here in Dubai.
Yeah, mashallah.
And I've already told them that, hey guys, you qualified to play for the national team here.
Yeah.
So
yeah, since they're born here.
Cool. So
exactly.
They're like, not England? I said, no.
Let's.
You're going to play here.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. One of the boys wants to play for Al Ain and the other wants to play for Al Wahda. So we'll see. We'll see with those.
Okay.
And yeah, my wife loves it here. The kids love going to school here.
Amazing.
And They really enjoy all the subjects, and when they come home and they're learning the Arabic.
Yes.
And we have discussions about how important it is to learn Arabic.
Yes.
And the vice versa for the Emiratis to be learning
English.
learning English,
Definitely.
because if you, let's say, work in football now, you have to be able to speak at least one
or two languages.
extra languages.
Definitely.
And
apart from your mother tongue.
of course, and this is what I say to the boys about Spanish, about Arabic.
Yes.
It's really good to learn because you can use it.
Anyway.
And the example of Jose Mourinho being Bobby Robson's translator at Barcelona,
Yes.
I tell this to the kids and say, hey, look at this job he's had. He's now one of the best coaches in the world.
Yes.
He started as a translator because he could speak.
Speak a lot of languages. You have a lot of advantages when you speak a lot of languages.
Absolutely.
You have a lot of advantages to, like, to communicate,
But even
Very,
even
very-
if you're a player on the field, being able to speak here,
Yeah.
English and Arabic is two massive
Plus point,
advantages, because that's how you will communicate with the local player.
Definitely.
And this is where players like Omar Carbine fit in perfectly. Language, unbelievable. Alan speaks English. Adrian Silva spoke English.
Yes.
The ones that don't speak English normally, traditionally, are the ones that struggle.
Struggle.
And it's the same with the coaches as well.
Yeah. It's very important.
Because if you have a coach that can't speak English, can't speak Arabic,
Mm-hmm.
they then have to have a translator.
Yeah.
And you lose the feeling and everything in
Yeah,
the translation.
yes,
You can't always get it 100%.
100% right.
Unless, Cosman's got Hussein as his translator. He's very good, by the way, from Romanian into Arabic.
Yes.
He's very good. Worked with him in Alain, and he's been with him throughout. So you do get some very good ones.
All right. Well, could you explain the process of you studying the opponent? Like, what are the key points? What are processing?
Okay, when
into?
I look at the opponent, the first thing I look for is injuries and suspensions.
Yeah.
Who's injured, who's suspended. I have a database of every yellow card on my laptop. Even that can get confusing.
Yeah.
That if you have one, it stays, and then two, and how many games, and all this stuff. But I have a database just so I'm ahead of anyone else in the club.
Yeah.
That I know, okay, this player suspended, even for us.
Yeah.
Injuries as well. But then it is individuals.
Yeah.
So I look at individuals who can make the difference for the opposition.
Okay.
How can we stop them?
Yeah.
Strengths of the opposition, weaknesses of the opposition.
Yes.
In the phases we already mentioned, build up, attacking play, then with the ball,
Yes.
then without the ball.
Yes.
Transition, defense to attack, attack to defense.
Definitely.
But one problem we have had here historically is quality Emirati left backs.
Left-backs.
Left backs have been in short supply for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And if you look now at a lot of the teams, they have foreign left backs.
Or left-backs. Yeah.
Banias have João Victor, they have Hussein Abbas as well, I guess. Alain with Eric, Awada with Ruben as well.
Yeah.
Maybe Gianluca will play for Ajman this year at left back. The top level ones, we've really struggled probably since, I guess, Abdullah Musa.
Yeah.
Back in Jazeera and with the national team when we won the Gulf Cup.
Yes. Yeah. We don't. Well, I'm thinking about. I'm like thinking like the past 5, 6, 7 years. If I'm finding some left back was really good, I can't.
We had Salah from Al Hussein and Al Hassan Salah,
Yes.
Al Nasser and Sharjah.
Yes.
These guys were okay.
Yeah.
But overall, it's the one position I always find is difficult to find good upcoming left backs. I often thought maybe stick Taknoon there, to be honest. Because
Taknoon, it might. I mean, I've seen something like, if I give an example of the Premier League, a team like Arsenal, Saka started as a fullback.
Absolutely. And
and look at him now.
Taknoon's aggressive.
Yes.
He's competitive.
Yes.
It's really hard to get past him, believe it or not.
Yeah. And it's tough.
And that's just his defensive. He's tough, absolutely. He's strong. Going forward, hey, come on.
I mean,
Creativity is top.
vision,
His crossing is really good. He can finish.
accuracy, yes.
But at the same token, when I'm looking at Awada this year, because they have Ahmed Nurala and Alan Marquis in the centre of their midfield, I'm thinking when Abdullah Hamad returns from training, and from injury, where do they play him? And maybe that could be an option for him on the right side.
True.
Because he's got the stamina, he's got the pace, he's got the legs, he can defend, he can get up and down.
Yeah.
That's just another option, in addition to Karbi and Bucci for those guys.
Nice.
So I'm curious to see. what the national team head coach is going to do when he's allowed to pick his first
team.
full squad, because obviously the Al-Wada players and everyone was not available for his first one.
Coming to the question of the national team, what do you think the national team should do to improve? Because we've been seeing a lot of coaches being coming in and out, someplace. Actually, the fans are not happy with the national team. So what's need to be improved? What we see in the coaches been fired, but it doesn't keep any new coaches being brought up. But we don't see any. There's no effectiveness. So what is it? Is it our league is poor? Is it the selection of the coach for the national team, or is it there is a very big gap? So sometimes you have a big gap between the club selection of the national team players. So what is it? Where are we going wrong there?
Look, we have to remember,
opinion.
We have to remember that the UAE has just under 10 million people.
Yes.
Of which maybe 1.8 million maximum are Emirati.
Yes.
Of which 900,000 are male.
Yes.
Of which a couple of 100,000 maybe are between 18 and 35.
Yes.
So we have a small pond, if you like, to pick from. Having said that, on the national team stage, historically, we have done incredibly well. 2012 Olympics, fantastic. Asian Cup in Australia coming third, fantastic.
We won the 2017
Golf Cup, absolutely. The Asian Cup here to the last four.
Yes.
But the last few years, we seem to have lost our identity a bit.
That's what I'm talking about. Exactly.
That's the way we play.
Yes.
And
we don't produce a lot of quality UAE players.
We seem to be struggling across the board for young players coming through.
Yes.
Now, is this because they can't get minutes in their club? Is it because there's a better player or a foreign player ahead of them?
Ahead of him, could be. That which gives him more, it puts him really down, and performance also goes down.
I also believe that these massive training camps that we go on don't help. Because players end up resenting almost going to play for the national team.
Yeah.
Because it's a 3-week camp here, it's a 12-day one here. To play for the national team, it should be an honour. And you should enjoy it. So go in, play 5 days before your game, have your 5-day training camp.
Yes.
Bang, 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 enjoy it, make it a fun camp.
Yes.
And then when it's done, come out. Because we go on these training camps that for me last too long. And you have to remember that the players are training for like an hour a day.
Yes.
And the rest of the time, they're locked in their hotels.
Yes.
And I'm not surprised that players want to escape the hotel and go out. I'm really not.
It's made to be like.
It's not a professional sport. You don't see hardly any other national team.
It's not organic.
Absolutely. And look at the European model. All these guys. Okay, you play for your club.
Yeah.
Okay, an international game on a Wednesday. On the Sunday you go.
Yeah.
Not okay. We're going to cancel the league and have all these training camps.
Yeah.
We do have a history here of bringing in expensive foreign coaches.
Yeah.
And quite often they don't really know the league.
Yeah.
And they don't know the competition.
Unfortunately.
So I would love to see, we saw with Rodolfo did know the league. I'd love to see someone like Cosman get the job as the national team head coach. Because he knows the league inside out.
I think he's a perfect person, a perfect guy, or perfect coach.
And his motivational skills, bringing the best out of his players. I think he could be a fantastic option in the future. I don't want him to come now and leave Sharjah without someone, but he could be a really good option for the national team to consider in the future. Because he knows football here.
Yes.
That's really important, and knowing the mentality as well.
Yes. We spoke about foreign coaches. I love my country. I love UAE. So I would love to see a lot of UAE coaches coming in, taking over. You've seen what Al-Ambari did with Sharjah. I would love to see more support of the local coaches coming in. They can go for training. They can go out and they have an experience. And I feel like we have a lot of UAE coaches who are really good. But why isn't they not given opportunities? Is it that it's because there's too much competition and too much expectations from the fans, pressure to the club? Like, that's why they bring big coaches. They don't want to take it as a risk. But why do they not?
I think it's important
local UAE coaches a chance.
We have seen a lot of Emirati coaches the last few years Like you said, and Sharjah done a fantastic job winning.
Yeah.
And he's continuing now with Corfacam.
Yes.
And they're definitely improving because of him. But you see a lot of local coaches in the academies. But I think they should all step up.
They need to step up, and we need local coaches.
To be taking under 21 teams is important.
Yes.
And also, I believe that the ones that are identified as a potential future head coach of the club should be allowed to come in as an assistant.
Exactly.
Your head coach.
Exactly.
Because, like I said earlier, I'm picking up experience and things that a head coach does well, things the head coach doesn't do too well.
Yes.
If you have a local coach in this environment as well, he will see how he has to act, how he's supposed to organize, and see how professional life works on a day-to-day basis. So I'd probably make it a rule here that you must have an Emirati coach on your first team.
Look at what Arteta has done. I mean, he was under Guardiola.
Yeah, he's under
Man City.
Absolutely.
And look what he has done, how much he has learned, and look how has he converted Arsenal to. You know, I mean, just a few examples I give you. Look how Mourinho has done it when he was, there.
Absolutely.
So I think if every team should have a very good assistant coach for every club, even though they bring in, it should be a rule. You bring in a professional coach from outside, foreigner, then the assistant coach should be, well, he might bring his own, but they should be also
must have,
so that we can improve it. I mean,
and not just having one so you can tick the form.
Exactly.
Having one that is there and is allowed to be on the grass, take sessions,
just to get it,
be involved.
You can have your own assistant coach, but your own assistant coach should be working hand to hand, with our local coaches. I mean, we need more local coaches. I feel like sometimes there's a language barrier, but if we have a local coach in a team where he knows Arabic, he speaks. When you speak to somebody in your own mother tongue, it's more effective than speaking as a foreigner. Any foreigner coach can speak to an Arabic or a local player, and when an Arabic person speaks to that player, it's totally different. It has more impact, more effect.
Of course.
As a matter of fact, that same assistant UAE coach can be speaking to that while he's hearing from the coach. So it's a win-win situation.
Of course.
It's a very good.
The problem you sometimes have, though, is that the head coach is always a bit nervous around these guys and like, oh, what is he saying? Because he doesn't understand.
Exactly.
So that's sometimes the little barrier you have there.
Yeah.
But I do think we need to have a lot more courses available.
Yeah.
And just so even a normal Emirati, when he finishes university or finishes his job, can go, okay, I want to do my level 1 or my C license, whatever it might be, and just take the first step. So I think we need to improve the number of courses.
Yeah.
And also...
I agree with that.
And not just in coaching, in football psychology, in understanding sports science, the fitness side. Absolutely. Because these things are all things that, as a coach, you have to consider. It's not just, like we say, the 90 minutes. It's not just a football aspect. There's so much more being a head coach and being able to manage everything.
Yes.
And even people management is a skill by itself.
Yes.
And this is something...
Psychology and all that.
And this is something that I've seen some coaches are maybe not tactically as great as others, but their motivation... Absolutely. And this could make a difference.
It's way above.
100%.
They make a normal player in a football ground look like fantastic. I think that you can see it through when Alex Ferguson was there. Why they were the great coaches, not because they're very good and tactical only, but when they speak to a player, they understand, okay, you can switch up a player from underperforming to probably the best player in the field.
Well, Alex Ferguson never used to really take sessions. It was always one of his assistants who took the warning.
Yes.
He'd just stand there, what? Take
Mind
notes.
games.
Finished. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, but I would love to see more Emirati coaches.
Yes, I would love to see too. I mean, I was really happy with Abdulaziz and Ambari. I mean, he did a fantastic. If Abdulaziz and Ambari can do that, definitely there's so many UAE local coaches who are really, up to the mark.
Well, and they can definitely a role model now. And an example for people to look up to and want to achieve.
As a matter of fact, I feel like if Abdulaziz Ambari doesn't have a club, I think he needs to start something like that for the younger ones. He can be a role model, and he can be also the head of a community where all the coaches go to him for just an experience.
Now, I would love to see some of the older players as well step up into coaching.
Yeah, and then I feel like also we have this thing where the old national team players, the old players from different clubs, the big players I'm talking about, I feel like they've been kind of sidelined.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are the players you need to put them in everywhere in the field. Whether it's in the coaching, whether it's a player, but most of the players, I mean, they've been sidelined, especially the great players. There are some which have been involved with the clubs and in the national team, but the great ones are, I can name them, like a lot, and I feel like they need to be there. They need to be engaged.
We see now Ismail Ahmed, a defender from Alin.
Yes.
He's now assistant coach for their 21s.
That's awesome.
And I know that Abu Dhabi Sports Council actually have a program where they take a lot of the coaches abroad to various countries to watch the trainings, to experience a different football culture.
Yes.
So this is credit to the Abu Dhabi Sports
Council.
You create better coaches, you create better players.
Always.
So
Absolutely.
That's where they're hoping to go.
Absolutely. All right, moving up from the coaches' side, Al-Ain just recent years they played and they became second in the World Cup. I know you're not there. I think at that time you were at the Jazeera,
I believe.
right? So, what's your intake on these games?
You don't get to the final of the World Cup through luck.
Yeah,
that's for sure. And their performance was incredible. And I was in the stadium to watch the final against Madrid, and I thought they played a very, very good game, and they can be proud of themselves. And no one can ever take away that second place in the Club World Cup.
Yeah.
As host nation as well, of course, we saw Jazeera and Al-Wahda in previous editions had played in it, and they've always given good accounts of themselves in this competition. I'm curious to see how Al-Ittihad will do next year, because Al-Hilal, again, another Arabic team who came second, losing 5-3 last
amazing.
year. But
it's amazing.
It was good for the country, not just for Al-Ain, but for football here as a whole, because people stood up.
We were all like supporting him.
Absolutely, and Al-Ain was a household name around the world.
Yes,
and even you go to FIFA, you can find Al-Ain.
Yes, if you play FIFA, yes,
it's on there. My kids sometimes play as Al-Ain.
Yes,
and it's like it was a massive achievement, and for it to happen in Abu Dhabi as well, in front of a full house,
amazing.
And for some of these players, that will be the highlight of their career, and that's something they can tell their grandkids, and they have the photos and the medal from that. That's massive, and I hope we see continued success for our teams here. And we do need to see a better performances in the Champions League.
Yes.
Obviously the format has changed.
Yes.
But I'm really looking forward to the Champions League, and I'm looking to see how we get on, how we compete, and of course, now the Saudi teams with their players and their money, they'll be the ones to beat.
Yeah.
But
they'll be a tough comp.
But the one thing I love about UAE football is when they come here, we all club together, and we get around. Our Wada fans go and support Al-Ain in the stadium, and Shabab fans and Dibba fans. Everyone.
It's gonna be like it's under one house.
It is the UAE against Al-Hilal, and that's what I love. And the important thing is to make it a real hostile environment for whoever we play.
Yes.
Make their life hell.
Yes.
And
we definitely do that.
You guys are very, very
Mr. Liam, thank you so much. I really appreciate. And thank you for your time, and thank you for everything.
No, thanks, mate. I really, really enjoyed it today.
Thank you.
It's been good fun.
Thank you very much.
I have for you, Liam, 4 or 5 questions. Do you think the local player can play in Europe?
Of course. I'm actually disappointed that we've not seen Ali Mabkout leave the country. I'd love to see him play in a European league, or I'd love to see him in Saudi. I really would love to see him against these players and these teams, see how he can get on. But there's a few things that really stop the players from playing in Europe at the moment. Like things like the religion and the money. The guys get paid very well for playing football here. And in Europe, the salaries in some countries are a lot smaller, So I don't know what's going to have to happen.
I think also the weather. Because most of the time in Europe, it's either snowing or raining heavily. I think our players will get a lot of times sick. I mean, I go to Europe and I don't play much of football. I just go to Europe for fun, but still I I get sick.
Yeah, but the guys here, the number one destinations, London and Paris.
Paris.
So everyone goes here. They'd be able to survive.
Yeah.
It takes one player to go. One
Yeah,
high-profile
one player to open up the door.
and then everyone will go.
Yes.
It worked the other way around. Cristiano Ronaldo, high-profile player,
Yes,
Saudi.
Saudi.
Now everyone wants to go.
Everyone wants to go to Saudi, yeah.
So I'd love to see some guys from here go
You
to
outside.
Europe.
Yeah, me too.
The local players here, who they call them like stars, they deserve the salary what they get, the number of salary.
You have to remember that these guys have devoted their life to football, and their career as a professional is small. I mean, it could be over tomorrow. You have a bad injury. So I think a lot of time, it's not just the 90 minutes you're paying for. It's them to live their lifestyle as a professional, eat right, sleep right, and be able to perform.
It comes with a cost. Yeah.
And I do believe that the guys do deserve to be well remunerated for the effort and the sacrifice they make.
All right. Makes sense.
This season, who will win the league?
Who will win the league? Oh, it's a competitive league for sure. There's 5 or 6 teams that could win it. I'd love to see Al Wasl win it this year, I think. I think with Fabio Lima, Caio, Ali Salah, Jimenez, of course, from Barrias has gone there.
Yeah.
Ali Salmin in the centre. Going forward, they have a really good team.
Al Wasl.
But the last few years, I think they've struggled at the back and they've conceded too many goals. And Sinani's come on really well in goal.
They even have Omar Abdurrahman.
Well, yeah, just in case you need Omar Abdurrahman to come in.
Yes.
We have a talent local player.
Yes,
We can see in the future.
100%. Look, you have Harib, who just got the Young Player of the Year. Exceptional talent. I'm expecting a big season from Taknoun Al-Zabi.
Yahya Ghassani, I feel like, is also a very talented player. Yahya Ghassani from...
Yahya, absolutely. And Yahya's got pace and speed is key here.
Yeah.
Taknoun's more of a technical, talented, creative player, similar to Omar Abdurrahman. He wasn't the quickest, also left foot. And Taknoun's got a lot of potential. I really hope he has an amazing season.
Yeah.
The what?
Iniesta deal to...
Oh, I'll be honest. When I read it on, I think it was your social media, I was like, no, that could not be happening. From Kobe to here, and just the status of him. I'm not sure how many minutes he's able to play. I'm not sure how fit he is. He's sure he won't be acclimatized to these conditions, the heat and the humidity up in Ras Al Khaimah.
Yeah.
So it will take him a little while, but for sure he's got a part to play. And he's ignited interest in the league where maybe people would not have looked for him. Like people in Japan now looking towards the league here.
Yes.
More people in Spain.
More audience you'll have.
And do not be surprised if we see him in the dugout soon. Maybe in the UAE as a coach, I think that'll
be good.
The next logical step for him.
I'll be the coach, definitely.
Who's your best player in the world?
My best player in the world at the moment? Oh, you'd do hard to beat Kylian Mbappe. He's unbelievable. I'm not sure where he's going to play this year. I don't think even he knows. Obviously not Saudi, not PSG. I'd love to see him in the Premier League.
I'd love to see him in Arsenal.
You would love to see him in Arsenal. Of course you would. Yeah.
I'd love to see him in City.
Imagine Saka on one side, Mbappe
and Jesus.
You get rid of Martinelli then, that's a problem.
Martinelli.
But yeah, Man City could take him. Liverpool.
Yeah. Man United even.
But his brother was in Alain, Kemba Nkunku, and they used to live a couple of doors down from me in Alain. And I used to see Mbappe during the holidays, just here and enjoying life and visiting his brother. So he's got experience in the region. So I think one day we'll see him here somewhere.
Last season, who was from you a good coach?
A good coach in the Pro League?
Yes.
I thought Goran at Ajman done a very good job. Like I said, the best counter-attacking team in the league. Good game plan. And they done really well. I think they finished 6th last year above Sharjah. And he's got a difficult task this year with Al Nassr because they underachieved for the last little while. They brought some really good players. It'd be interesting to see how they do. And it's going to be such a competitive league this year with all the teams. And many teams have changed their coach. Jazeera, Alain, Wada. So it's how well these guys start the season.
Yeah.
Mr. Liam, when I was in the break, you said to me, Bamita texting you, yeah? You have a relation with the players?
Look, with all your players, you always have a good relationship with them. And that's important, that you can trust them and they can call you at any time with anything. And I always say to the guys, even if it's not to do with football, you have problems at home or whatever, your cat's sick, call me, I can help. Or you're locked out of your house.
Only الوحدة player or?
Anyone's can, anytime. Because just be the best version of yourself and to help other people, you know?
Yeah.
Whether it's football or anything.
Anything. That's nice. Would you like to go back and work with Al-Wahda?
I enjoy my time at Al-Wahda.
Yes.
Very much, and good experience. Enjoy working with the players and the staff as well, because there's a lot of real good guys behind the scenes that normal fans you don't get to see, you know, like in the medical room and the kit guys.
Yes.
They got some guys there who work really hard.
Yes.
So I am open to anything.
I'm a
here.
big Al-Wahda fan, and I would love to see you going back to Al-Wahda, because I feel like you did an excellent job.
Thank you.
You really improved a lot. I've been, going and hearing a lot about you. So, and that's why you invited us. So I would love to see you back in our Al-Wahda team. I'll be really happy.
I'd like to, wherever I go, I'd like to
Set an impact.
improve things as well. And we talked earlier about academies and under 21s and under 18s.
Yeah.
But really putting in a fantastic system so whichever club I'm at can benefit from analysis throughout, not just with the first team, but an entire project for the entire club to follow.
That was my last question. Thank you very much, Mr. Liam. God bless you.
No, thank you for having me again.
All right.